Oh, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Sandsawks, and we're doing another Throwback Thursday. This time we're talking about Kabuki Quantum Fighter. Welcome back, everyone. Before we start this video, I just wanted to give a quick update on the series. Now, most of the series on my channel show me on an overlay over the video game that we're playing or talking about, or any of the images. I wanted to try something new on this series and focus more on the game of what you're seeing and just kind of talk in the background about it. So if you have any thoughts or opinions on which one you like more, please leave them down in the comments. Now, without any further ado, let's talk about the game. Introduction. Kabuki Quantum Fighter is a 2D action platformer released in the early 1990s for the Nintendo Entertainment System. If you have ever played or seen this game before, the thing that you probably remember the most is that you can whip your enemies to death with your hair. While on the surface it might seem like a gimmick, it actually turns up being a surprisingly solid game. The story. The premise of the game is that in the year 2056, someone or something has hacked into the main defense computer and taken complete control over it. To make matters worse, this computer controls the nuclear weapons of the country. The solution to the world's most dangerous problem is seemingly inspired by the movie Tron, as the image transfer system can transfer the mind of someone into the computer itself as binary data and regain control. Enter Colonel Scott O'Connor, a 25-year-old military operative who specializes in psychology as well as computer hardware and software. Despite this technology never being tested and not knowing what to expect, O'Connor is up to the task. Upon being transferred into the computer, he becomes a fully dressed kabuki actor, which was influenced by his great-grandfather. Now it is up to Scott O'Connor to save the fate of the world. While a quirky and unconventional story, it actually plays out very well. Gameplay. Despite the bizarre story, Kabuki Quantum Fighter is a solid and standard action platformer. The game is comparable to similar NES titles of the time in Mega Man, Batman, and Ninja Gaiden. When you start the game, you have your hair as your primary melee weapon, though crouching will issue a shorter ranged punch. You also have a metered range weapon, which is unique in that it is upgraded after you defeat each of the 5 levels bosses. There is a 6th final level, but it is simply a boss battle. A nice touch is the cutscene between each level, which helps further the storyline and your power-ups. With that said, the game in distance is not very long, though the difficulty of it will add to the time you spend on a playthrough. Being a short platformer game from 1991 also means there won't be much appeal to replay the game frequently, but on occasion, this one brings a fun playthrough that you can manage on a short evening. Graphics. The graphics for this game are a love-hate relationship for me, and I generally rate them just a bit lower than most who I have seen review this game. The graphics without consideration on the story are actually pretty good for a game of its time. Everything is solid and smooth. The problem that I have is that nothing makes sense. You are in a computer, but nothing looks computery. It probably isn't as bad as I feel, since as a kid I didn't even recall paying attention to the fact I was supposed to be in a computer. I felt like I was taking on sci-fi baddies who looked like some sort of ninja or animal. Nevertheless, at this point, I can't help but take into consideration that the story and graphics don't evenly line up. The graphics definitely don't take away from the game, but they don't add anything more to it. Sound and music. The sound and music of the 8-bit era can be quite interesting. Personally, I really enjoy 8-bit soundtracks and even 8-bit versions of current music. At any rate, what you hear in the game is very fitting. The music flows through each level and nothing seems to be short or like it's on a repeat. Likewise, the sounds are crisp and match the actions taking place. Where the graphics may have slightly missed the story, the sound and music perfectly capture the gameplay. Simply put, the music and sound of Kabuki Quantum Fighter is phenomenal. Personal experience. I don't remember the exact manner in which I got Kabuki Quantum Fighter. The Nintendo Entertainment System had a massive, quality library, and I imagine like with most of the games I got for it, I sat at a locked window of my local retail store looking at box covers until I asked, "Can I get that one?" I was around the age of 8, and probably was some holiday or birthday event. The point I'm driving is that at the time in my age, we didn't have betas or trials. You either found out you wanted a game because you had played it with or saw your friend play it. Otherwise, you were taking a risk. This game was a risk, and one that completely paid off. Whenever I think of my favorite Nintendo games of all time, I always make sure to leave room for this one. If you haven't had a chance to play Kabuki Quantum Fighter, anytime you're in the mood for a retro old Nintendo game, I highly suggest checking this one out. Well, that's it for the video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving the video a like. If you have thoughts on this game or on the series, please leave them in the comments below. Also, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification icon so you get alerted whenever we go live or upload new content. Until next time, I'm Sandsawks.